What's up, you guys? I'm Tess the Agriculturalist, and I'm so excited that you guys are sitting down with me today, and we're gonna chat about true crime and mystery in agriculture. Now, I know that right now and recently, true crime has been popping off. It's sort of, really popular. There's a lot of TV shows, documentaries, movies that you can watch about true crime. Some would say a hot commodity. I hate myself. What I will say is all of the stories I'm hoping to touch on relate back to agriculture, and they're definitely anomalies, but I think it'll be funny / weird to just dive on into them and talk about true crime and agriculture. So without further ado, let's get into it. Okay. So this story that we're going to start off with is all about avocados and what not to do with them. In June of 2017, 3 California men were arrested for stealing $300,000 worth of green goddess avocado. So these men were just arrested for stealing avocados. What a way. But they worked at Mission Produce owned ripening facility that was in Ventura County, California. And they'd been selling these avocados to people for months who thought that they were purchasing this fruit from Mission Produce. So people were buying these avocados from them and they had no idea that they were illegally purchasing them. Side note, you might have heard that I said avocado is considered a fruit. So it is essentially one large berry with one giant seed. And another fun fact is that California produces actually 90% of the US avocado crop. So regardless if you're in New York, New Jersey, as far as you can get from California, you're probably buying an avocado from California, which is kind of cool. Back to the scene of the crime. I think that's too close. Back to the scene of the crime. In November, these men were sentenced to 2 years in jail for their roles in this agricultural crime. So there is a category called agricultural crime. In this case, this one was specifically food fraud. So in case you didn't know, food fraud can be a number of things. So illegally diluting or substituting ingredients, mislabeling the food you're actually selling, or stealing food to sell on the gray market. That's right, there's a gray market. Isn't that weird? The gray market is the trade of a product through the channels that are not legally authorized from the original manufacturer or trademark proprietor. So in this case, it was Mission Produce, and they just sold these avocados for whatever reason. Why would you want to do that? Like, what happens when you're just like, you know what? You know a way that we can pay our bills next month? Let's just sell avocados illegally, guys. And then everyone being like, yeah, this guy gets it. This guy gets it. Why? He doesn't get it. Anyway, moral of the story, don't end up behind bars for stealing avocados. It's not a good look. Next story. Warning, the following may be triggering or violent for designated audience for death, animal cruelty, and crime. Viewer discretion is advised. Okay, yikes. Big yikes. That's really all I have to say about this one. So we're just going to brace ourselves up. We're going to strap on into the roller coaster, and you guys are going to come with me for this ride. So disclaimer, if you guys just want to fast forward, if you don't want to hear about this story is about a man who dies after a rooster attack. So to set the scene, there is such a thing as a cockfight. Let's just get all of our laughs out now. Tess said cock. It's comical. Yeah, sure. It's actually not at all. We're not going to laugh about this. So to set the scene of the crime, there is such a thing as a cockfight. Cockfighting was primarily practiced on the American frontier, specifically in the South. So naturally, Southerners migrating into Oklahoma brought this pastime hobby with them. First of all, when I saw that hobby was like the thing, like That's not what we're doing here. It's not a hobby. Hobbies are like coloring and painting, collecting your plants, right? I don't even know how people get into that. Anyway, it is now illegal in all 50 states to participate in or conduct in rooster/cockfighting. Cockfighting is also illegal in the District of Columbia, but to this day remains legal in Guam, the Northern Mariana Islands, Puerto Rico, and even the US Virgin Islands. So still illegal in some places, but not very many. To set the scene, it has been illegal in India since 1960, since this story that we're touching on takes place in India. So since 1960s, cockfighting has been banned. Everyone's known like that. This ain't it, chief. It's weird. Don't do it. An Indian man died after a struggle with his rooster on his way to a rooster fight. At these events, betting and gambling take place for sport. Side note, chicken farmers do not participate in chicken fighting. Chicken farmers do not participate in chicken fighting. Let's say it again for the guys in the back. Chicken farmers do not participate in chicken farming. I know how YouTube works. We're just going to say that right now. We know that. It's not a thing. This is just a story we're talking about, okay? Let's all calm down back there in the comments too. Watch yourselves. So Roe, his name was Roe. He was a regular at local cockfights. So basically like when people are regulars at like bars or restaurants, but just kind of weirder and gross. He was on his way to enter his rooster in a competition when it tried to break free from him. And then Roe was struck on the neck and from a blade that was tied to his rooster's claw. So that's what they would do, and they would have them fight. They'd put these blades on their claws and then they'd go at it. For these reasons and also animal welfare, rooster fighting, aka cockfighting, was banned way back in the 60s. So please just don't do it. We're not condoning it. It's so much worse than stealing avocados. Next story. The next story we're going to talk about today is more ghost and mystery based. This story is about the Dandy House. I don't know if that's ringing some bells for some of you. You put some bells in the background. The Dandy House story is set in Hinsdale, New York in the 1970s. So Clara and Phil Dandy moved into this gorgeous farmhouse surrounded by wildlife and trees. Just the perfect, scenery for moving into a nice new home. New farmhouse, right? Nothing but miles of land surrounding them with only just a few neighbors around. Actually, about 98% of farms in New York are family owned. So this is a farmhouse in New York that we're discussing right now. And, it makes sense to see these farmhouses like the Dandy House pop up because there are just so many family owned farms within New York, which is kind of a cool fact. Except, most farmhouses aren't haunted. And so today, we're talking about a haunted farmhouse, so that's kind of an anomaly. Anyways, back to the story. One of their neighbors came up to them yelling, "What are you doing? You can't move in here." The perfect set for a scary movie. The neighbor, classic neighbor coming up saying, "No, who are you? Don't do this to yourselves," trying to warn them. Very foreboding, but the Dandies moved in. Very sad. And they lived there. Actually, they were in residency for about 4 years. So from 1970 to 1974 was when the Dandy family was in residence there. The Dandies had witnessed a series of unexplainable events, from hearing strange chants to seeing chimney bricks removed by invisible hands. Okay, so when I read this, and granted, things like this, people like to get real spooky. But first, my one question is, where invisible hands, how do you know that they're hands then? Right? Invisible hands. Let's just go with it, right? Invisible hands, they saw chimney bricks removed by invisible hands to feeling burns on their bodies. Yikes. They also spotted a male spirit in a plaid shirt. Yeehaw, Flannel Friday.
Ooh, are we gonna be rocking the flannel? I think, yeah.
And blue jeans holding a rifle at the end of their bed. See, I think that's also when I'm like, no, this guy's here. He doesn't want me here. So we're not welcome. So the house is also known for lurking shadows, Some of these shadows have even been caught on camera. Spooks magooks. The family even took it as far as asking a priest to perform exorcisms, which happened more than once for the family on multiple occasions. During one of the exorcisms, the house was actually apparently shaking and almost making like a crying noise, which I don't know how that works, but that happened during the exorcism, which really freaked out the Dandies. And to this day, the Dandy house has had a bunch of different owners, and all of them have experienced these kinds of paranormal activities. The Dandy house is still a destination for paranormal seekers. The farmhouse actually has a fundraiser now that you can donate towards to help preserve the Dandy house and the land of which it resides on. The agriculture and land surrounding the Dandy house could still be functional, but it's what happens on the inside of the house and around the property that's not so functional. The home is still a location, like I said, for paranormal research. So my question for you guys is, should Isaac the Ag Guy and I go and test it out? Bring a little spirit box? Where do you get a spirit box? Do I just go on like Amazon or something? Thank you for watching this video. If you like what you see here and enjoy this type of content, please feel free to like the video, subscribe to Agaholics, and ring the bell for notifications for when new videos come out. Leave your comments about any stories you guys want to hear me chat about next. I'm always looking for new things to talk about with you. And thanks again for watching, and don't forget to get outside today.